This is exercise 1.1 from the C programming language by Kernighan and Ritchie. In exercise 1.1, we're asked to write a Hello World program, compile it, and then run it. Afterward, we'll make changes to it, deleting parts of it, experimenting with it, seeing what error messages we get, for example. Let's go ahead then and write the Hello World program. I'm going to use the Vim text editor. You can use whatever editor you want. The first thing we do is we tell the compiler to include information about the standard input and output library. Here we begin the main function. Now you will notice that I'm specifying a return type of int. In the C programming language book, Kernighan and Ritchie do not usually put a return type on main. I think it's best practice, so I'm doing it here. \n is the way that we specify a new line. Since I am including a return type, let's just go ahead and return something. It's not required. And hw.c is our C source code. It's an ASCII text file. Let's run the GNU C compiler and compile our file. And we get an a.out, which is an executable. Let's run it. And we get the expected output, hello world. And did we get 100 returned? Yes, 100 was returned. All right, let's experiment with our program. What if we didn't include the stdio.h? Now we get warnings, and it tells us implicit declaration of function printf. Well, indeed, on line 3, we are using the printf function. But the compiler is saying you haven't declared it yet. For every function we use, the compiler wants us to have a declaration of it. That's the point of stdio.h. The file stdio.h contains function declarations. This stdio.h lives usually in user include. And yes, there it is. The compiler also gives us a note, and it is saying include stdio.h to provide a declaration of printf. It's showing us here even what exactly we should include. This is like a patch line. It tells us to put this line above int main. Or, of course, we can provide a declaration of printf. Let's go ahead and try to do that. I happen to know printf returns an int, and it takes a char star constant. At this point, you should not know what these are, so don't worry about it. Let's just see if we can make that warning go away. And yes, no more warnings. And the program runs as we expect. Let's go back one more time. Now the warning should be back. And there it is. But did that create an executable? There's the warning. But we still get an executable. There may be cases where you want to suppress the warnings. You can do that by using the -w flag. No more warnings. Whether this is a good idea or not, I'll let you decide. But I don't think it's a good idea most of the time. There is another flag that I may as well introduce now, and that is to name the output file. We can tell GCC the name of the executable that we would like created. In this case, I'll go ahead and use HW as the name of the executable, which seems reasonable given that the source code is named hw.c. And there is HW. And it runs just fine. So we don't need a.out anymore. All right, let's get rid of that warning and put our include line back. What if we just deleted this line? Now we get an error. I'll remove HW and recompile. The error does not allow an executable to be created. Let's put that back. Since Kernighan and Ritchie do not include a return type on main, let's see what we get. We get a warning. The return type defaults to an int. That may not be what we want, and so the compiler is warning us about it. But this did not prevent an executable from being created. And of course, we can suppress the warning message with the W flag. A very common occurrence is to leave off a semicolon. What happens in that case? That's an error. expected a semicolon before the return, and it gives us an indication of where it thinks the semicolon should go. What if we returned a string like hello world? Well, with the W flag, we don't get any error. Let's take that W flag away. And there's a warning. And it tells us that the program is returning a char star, that's a character pointer, from a function with a return type of an int. And so that makes an integer from a pointer without a cast. You're not expected to know any of that at this point, but we are getting an error. Or I'm sorry, we are getting a warning. Let's run this and see what gets returned. 4. I'm not sure how to interpret that. What if we renamed this call to printf? The compiler gives us a warning, and it's one that we've seen before. In this case, implicit declaration of the function ASDF printf. It gives us a suggestion on what we might have been trying to use. And then down here we have another message. This is not from the compiler, this is from the linker, and it's telling us that in function main there is a reference to ASDF printf, and it's saying it's undefined. The linker cannot find it, and so this is producing an error from the linker. What if we said, I don't like main as the name of my function. This is a hello world function. I want to name it hello world. That sounds reasonable. And here we are not getting an error from the compiler. We are again getting an error from the linker. And the linker is telling us that there is an undefined reference to main. That might not make much sense to us. We're not using main. But remember, every C application must somewhere have a reference to main. And we don't have one. So we will put that back and rename this function main. All right. Well, if this is your first programming experience, you have made a lot of progress. You've been able to create a program, You've been able to run the compiler, and you're looking at error messages. And this is a big first step. All right, that's exercise 1.1.